Cincinnati Bengals, like you talk about, team coming out just out of a Super Bowl run that a lot of people didn't see coming. This is a team that was ready to compete and win. We all knew that already. They made a ton of moves in the offseason, the biggest being all the upgrades they made to the offensive line. A lot of the work they needed to do this offseason was already done going into the NFL draft. So at that point, let's just see what falls to it. And right there in the first round, pick 31, Dax Hill. A lot of people viewed him as the top safety of this class, right out there with Lewis Cine. They bring him in out of Michigan. I know we talked about when we did the Pittsburgh Steelers breakdown, we talked about George Pickens. There's that funny video where George Pickens tells Michigan crowd, hey, be quiet. And he just takes his lunch money out there in the field, throws that little two hands right to the chest, knocks Dax Hill over in the college football playoffs. So to bring him in at pick 31, I think it's going to be interesting watching those two guys match up game in and game out at least twice a year. I think he's probably going to be more of like their slot player. How do you see Dax Hill kind of fitting into this team?
Yeah, I think he'll be the slot player year one. And I think after that, he's going to just hop back into the back for Von Bell or for Jesse Bates if they aren't able to get a long-term deal done with Jesse Bates, which, listen, if they let Jesse Bates walk in free agency, that's on them. That's their issue.
That's on them. It would be
ridiculous. But I mean, that's kind of how Cincinnati has been run for ever. They don't pay guys. Yeah, they don't
have
pay
a practice
guys.
facility.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. But I do think when you look at their draft, when you look at Dax Hill, I think that was a fantastic pick at pick 30. Cam Taylor-Britt, they needed the depth at corner because Cheeto Awuzie on the last year of his deal, that entire secondary is on like the last year of their deal. So to bring in those two guys in the first two rounds was really big. You can never have enough edge depth. So getting Zachary Carter, big time work there. And then throw more assets at the interior offensive line because although they picked up a couple of bodies there, it's still not quite good enough.
Yeah, I think it's so improved though. I mean, La'el Collins, Alex Kappa, Ted Karras. I mean, Jackson Carman's probably the only question, but you have Jonah Williams over there at left tackle too. So I mean, it's that the guard was the only spot that I think they could have had any potential upgrade and room to make. Because outside of that, this offensive line is just set to eat, which is going to be crazy and scary also what Joe Burrow can do when he has time to process and read the field rather than just saying, hey, Jamar Chase is there, I'm just going to throw the ball to him. Because that tends to work out pretty well, though. But you still have, like, you guys got, like, T. Higgins. You got Tyler Boyd on this team, too. We'll see what they do with tight end without C.J. Uzoma. But it's a team that's, like I said, it's set to win. Like, talk about the guard position, like Cordell Volson out of North Dakota State, which is essentially the Alabama of FCS. Like, these guys just win and produce top-tier talent. They also bring in another safety in Tyson Anderson out of Toledo in the 5th round of 166. And then Jeffrey Gunter, the edge out of Coastal Carolina at 252. If you went to Coastal Carolina, I'm probably going to like you. Like, I just love the mentality of some of those guys from that team. It's a anytime, anywhere mentality when they went and played when they played Zach Wilson, the BYU. I just like the Chanticleers. They're just fun for me. The crowd, the fans, like a whole situation. I'm a Coastal fan person, so I do like the pick despite him being a later round. But like we said, it's a lot of the damage and the upgrades the Bengals needed to do happened before the draft. Like, y'all crushed it in the offseason. You were one of my biggest winners of the offseason. And so to bring in someone like a Dax Hill and just add a little more depth, I was a big fan of this draft and this whole offseason for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, no, it was a good one. It was a team, like we said already, kind of a magical run to the Super Bowl. And they doubled down on it and really improved their team in the offseason. So now you kind of expect them to compete for a Super Bowl.
For a team that just came out of representing the AFC, do we think we're giving them enough respect right now? Or is the situation where it's like, look, all the cards kind of fell in the right situation for them, but we still need to give the favorites to obviously the Chiefs and the Chargers and the Bills and those kind of other teams. But are we still giving enough respect to the Cincinnati Bengals in your opinion?
I think so. I think we are. I mean, it's just the AFC is completely loaded at this point. Yeah. It's ridiculous. I love Joe Burrow, and obviously Joe Burrow has, whatever you want to call it, swag or whatever. He has
whatever it is, he's got it.
Yes, he has it. He has that it factor that we always talk about. And on top of already being, when he came out of LSU, the most pro-ready quarterback I've ever seen. He just mentally was already a pro. And so if you improve that offensive line, the sky is really the limit for him. Yep. And, where I think there are other quarterbacks, even in his own draft class, who have higher upside and might already be a better quarterback in Justin Herbert because he's a freak. He hasn't had that team success, and team success is so important in the way that people view quarterbacks. So it's tough when you're trying to sit back and kind of rank these guys. But The Chargers improved drastically. Denver got a quarterback. The Bills somehow got better. The Chiefs kind of got worse for a while and then had a really nice draft. So it's tough for me to even say that the Bengals are like the third or the fourth favorite in the AFC.
Yeah, I mean it's not even the fact that it's nothing to do against the Bengals.
No,
it's just how damn good this conference is. If you took the Bengals and put them in the NFC, they'd be one of the top 3 favorites in that conference. Easily.
Yeah. It's just, you're right. The talent discrepancy between the AFC and the NFC has gotten so large. It's a lot like, it reminds me of like mid 2000s NBA basketball, where it was the Western Conference was just annihilating the Eastern Conference. So it'd be interesting to see how it all shakes out.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting, that's for sure. But look, if you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan, let us know what you guys thought about the Bengals draft haul from the 2022 NFL Draft. Let us know down there in the comments. Hit that like and that subscribe button while you're there so you don't miss out on anything coming from Pro Football Network.